Hello, welcome back to Crochet Creations and some vlogaday for July. As you can see in the camera, we have the Eddie Bauer Cozy Camp. This is 100% recycled. I found it at Joann's, and this is the eggplant colorway. It is the spotlighted yarn for July for hats, hats, and more hats. What is that? That's my challenge that I do every month on my Facebook group, and I talk about it on my YouTube channel. They are one and the same, they go together. You need to post a hat every month, a finished hat, in the tagged or pinned post for hats, hats, and more hats, and then I draw for the yarn of the month and a stitch marker. So this month is your choice of the green colorway or this eggplant colorway. The green one is this one, and this month in July comes with a patriotic butterfly stitch marker. So make sure you make a hat. If you're looking for a good hat to make, maybe you'll make this one. So I'm going to design a hat. Wish me luck, because you know. Let's see how well we do. This will be done in a series of videos as I design it. So I haven't even started. I have my ideas, and so I will be, as my ideas come to light, I will be putting that on video, saving each piece of video, and then putting them all together. So hopefully you will see this hat eventually by the end of the month, right? We're gonna use a stitch that I kind of like, and there's a couple of reasons. So get a 4 medium yarn of some sort or type. One skein will be fine, as long as it has at least 200 yards in it. It should be fine. Unless you want to do a slouchy and you want it way bigger. I'm going to use a J hook this time. That is a 6mm. I don't know why. I just want it to be a little bit plumper. And this yarn seems to be very twisted, but it does seem to be plump. It's airy. It's not really tightly twisted. It's just kind of pretty. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to do our chain and our double crochets all in one. So this is called the foundation double crochet. Why we are doing this is because I want to do it, and I want to try and make the brim a little giving, but I also want to make it so you can choose your size easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with 2 chains on your hook. So 1, 2. That is going to be your foundation chains. And we're going to make one every time we make a stitch. So we're going to go ahead and go back into the first by yarning over and reaching into our first and drawing up a loop. At that point, always going to make the bottom, you're going to have 3 on your hook. You're always going to make the bottom part first. So we're going to yarn over and go through 1 and draw that loop up even. That's our bottom chain. Then we're going to make our double crochet. So then we're going to chain or yarn over and draw through 2, and then yarn over and draw through 2. So there's your first double and your chain all in one. You're going to keep your work to the side like this. And then our first one, we want to make sure that the very first one we get, if we tip it sideways, we're going to get both of those loops. So again, we're going to yarn over and we're going to tip it sideways and grab both of those loops on the bottom chain. Yarn over and draw through once. Bring them up. There you have 3 again. Yarn over, draw through 2. No, that's not right. You yarn over and grab those 2 loops. No, now I gotta tip it again. Yarn over, draw through those 2 loops, or enter. Yarn over, draw the loop up, then yarn over and draw through the 1. That's the way that you're supposed to do it. And then draw through 2. All right, let's try it again. So we're yarn over, find the 2 loops by tipping it. Draw up a loop and bring it up high. Yarn over, draw through it once. Yarn over, draw through 2, and yarn over, draw through 2. So that is correct. We'll do it again. Yarn over, find your 2 loops. Yarn over, draw through them. Yarn over, draw through 1. Yarn over, draw through 2. Yarn over, draw through 2. So now you can see that you are actually creating a double crochet and a chain all in one. So if we continue on doing this until our desired length, so now did I do it right? I keep forgetting if I do it right. Yarn over, bring up a loop, go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. You know why I keep doing it the other way? I don't know. I can't tell you, but you have, it's a mindset. You can't watch TV. You got to think about it. All right, there we go. 1, 2, 2. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make as many as I need and then check my size on my head. My guess is I'm going to at least have 60, 64, somewhere in there. I would like you to make sure you have an even amount. So, 60 or 62 or 64 or 70, somewhere in there would be, my guess is what we're going to end up with. When we get that done, I'll come back and tell you how many I put on. So see how it's stretchy? I like that. That is super cool. I have no idea how this is going to turn out yet. But I think our foundation is going to be a great idea with this yarn anyway. Okay. All right, so I'm going to continue and I will meet you back and after I have decided, I definitely have already decided the brim, so we will meet back after that. Hi, welcome back. So what I did was I experimented, and I got to my 30 stitches, and I put my stitch marker so I didn't have to count those 30 anymore. And then I went to 60, and I put it on my head after I slip stitched in the round. If it fits you comfortably but not too tight, then that would be appropriate. Now you could do this for a baby's hat, I'm sure, as long as you have an even amount of stitches, because when we do the ribbing, we're going to go along with, 2 by 2, so we want an even amount. Now what I did to end the row is, and I'm going to go ahead and do my number 60 stitch over again so that everybody can see it. I have done foundation chains before, and I thought, I don't like the way that I just ended or joined, so I'm doing it a little different this time. So lay your beginning down, and let's do our last stitch. So whatever number you have, if it's 60, then this is the same as mine. It is stitch number 60. So we'll yarn over and go through the 2 that we talked about. But before we finish, pick up and go through the very first chain right there. Draw it through all 3. Pull that up even. Yarn over, go through 1. Yarn over, go through 2. And yarn over, go through 2. Now your bottom chain is attached at this point. We're going to slip stitch in our first double crochet like usual. Then I would suggest taking a tapestry needle and closing that down. You don't have to do it now, but if you do it now, it's going to keep that from stretching anymore. So we're going to go ahead and there goes the Thunderbirds over the house. I can't believe I got that on video. The Saturday show is starting. That is the first that I've heard anything go up. So I will probably go outside and watch that and come back in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and let's do this. Let's do it. So I want to kind of tighten that down. So let's go over here and back over here. You can do it whatever way you want, but I want to get that tightened down just a bit. That's not bad. Not bad. Okay, I'm happy with it. If you're not happy with it, you can take it back out very carefully. You could actually take that out. Alright, so I am going tomorrow to the Sunday show. And you won't see this video for several days or weeks after. Yes, there is a little bloop there, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it at all. Let's go ahead and start our ribbing, and then I will stop the video. So you're going to chain 1, and you're going to put a front post double around that first one that appears there. And then you're going to put 1 into the next stitch, a double. Now we're only going to have 60, so we're going to make sure we count and make sure that you don't, so your front post and your regular. This is my ribbing that I want to do. So so front post, back post, or I mean front post regular, front post regular, all the way around, 60 stitches, and you're going to end with a regular and slip stitch in your first front post. So I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm back after row number, I guess you would call this row number 2, because your first row was your foundation row, which actually is your chain and your first row of double crochets all in one. So technically you could say this was round 3, but it isn't. It started out with a front post double and a regular double, and this will be your hardest row to see your stitch, you know, whether you use that stitch or not, and do every other. You should have an even number. I have 60, and so my last one is here, and it is a regular double. I'm going to slip stitch into my first front post double to end that round. Now we're going to work on the ribbing from here on out of my vision. Now I haven't done it yet. I'm doing it first time with you. So instead of doing a front post in the first, we're going to go ahead and do a double in that front post, and then we're going to go ahead and bring up the front post, or the next one, the regular double, into the front. So this will be opposite what we did the last row. So you're going to go down to the regular and then bring up the regular to the front. So it's every other stitch. So now I'm in the front, I'm doing a front post, so I'm going to do a regular, and then I'm going to do a front post, and now I'm going to do a regular, and again you're going to see every other like that. Now if you do the J hook, which I did, you are already going to look at this and say, well, it's 1.5 inches already. So my plan is to do the ribbing, the one row to start, which would have been starting with the front post. The second row will be opposite, and the third row will be a repeat of the first row of ribbing. So we'll do 3 rows of this and we'll work opposite. So your next, when you come back around, your next row will start out with the front post again. But remember, only take the stitch from the row previous. Don't go all the way down here. So then your second stitch will be a regular double. So we'll have 3 rows of ribbing. And that is what my vision was. Whether or not it's the right thing to do or not, then I don't know, but we're doing it. So I'm hoping you are enjoying this hat. I will meet you back after I have all 3 rows of the ribbing done. I'll talk to you soon. Hi, I'm back after I did 3 rows of the ribbing. Now I did notice a couple things. It does seem to start to bow a little. That will go away as soon as we do our first row of the regular hat. The second row seemed to bow more, and then the third row seemed to take it back down. So I'm happy with this. As far as the yarn, I did have a couple of times when I pulled on the center pull and it was knotted and it came out. I had a couple times where I found a knot, and but other than that, it's working up fine. It slides on the needle fine, the hook rather, but it doesn't feel real soft. It almost feels like it has wool in it. Now, if you remember me talking about it earlier, you would have heard me say it's recycled acrylic. Again, every recycled acrylic that I have found has had that feeling of not so soft. So there is that, in my opinion. I am going to take and do a swatch of my pattern that I'm thinking of doing, and then I will come back here and we will do it together. So these 4 videos that I've been doing the brim, I'm going to put them together and save them, and then come back and make more. So I'll talk to you then. Bye for now. Hello, welcome back. Alright, so what I did was I tested out 2 or 3 different things on the ribbing to start the hat, and I ripped them out. Alright, so what I did settle with was pretty simple. So when you get done with the ribbing, you're going to slip stitch to the first, and you're going to end that row. Then you're going to chain 1, and you're going to half double crochet in each stitch. So that's all I did, was chain 1, half double crochet across your row. And when you get around to the end, you'll have 60 stitches, and you will slip stitch in the first and end. I'm sorry I didn't rip this back out and do it again on video, but it is the same as this last row. So this will be 5 rows of that. So you just do half double crochet, 5 rows. That'll be your first section. And you can see I just chained 1 and half double crocheted. And it was a little bit of what I wanted the hat to do, and also the fact that this yarn is hiding stitches. So I don't mean it's hiding it from us, I mean it's hiding any texture that I'm trying to do. I was going to try and do some more texture like we did in the ribbing. However, this is hidden. When we were going along and we were doing it, we were doing front post double every other, and as you can see, this color yarn is hiding that beautiful texture, which is fine. It's not going to hide it in every color, but in the marl it does. So I figured, why keep going with texture if it's just going to hide it? So 5 rows of half double crochet is my choice for this pattern. I hope that you are enjoying this tutorial. I have decided to spend my Saturday doing this hat. I'm hoping to have it done to put up on Sunday, because someone offered tickets to Pocono and I couldn't turn it down. So my choice was to not have a live today and go to Pocono Raceway. So I know I chose to go, but opportunity arose. I wasn't planning it, so I had to make a quick decision, and that was to work on this hat and bring it upon the spot in the live spot for Sunday and give it to you. So that did come out quite a bit earlier. If I finish it, you will see it on Sunday. If not, well, then I'm sorry. But we are going to finish this row together, and we're going to go with the body will be row 6 of the body of the hat. And I think that's the best way to number them. If you were to count it like row 9 or something, then the repeat wouldn't be counted properly. So we will have a repeat. And what I'll do is I will come back after that and hopefully finish the hat, and it'll all be uploaded on Sunday. Okay. Coming back around to end that row. This, by the way, is working up very squishy like I wanted it to with this J hook. I am trying to keep it down on the material when I pull on it, because it's such a big hook. I don't want to leave a lot of holes. So then you're going to slip stitch in your first half double. Whoops, so slippery. And close that round. Now, a lot of times you will see a jag in your join. If you don't want to see that, this is my choice. Do not slip stitch. Just continue in the round the entire, and leave yourself a stitch marker and know where the round starts and ends. You do not have to slip stitch and join. You can just continue around and just half double crochet every row and keep your space by. Now, I would rip it out if it was bad. And this is a tutorial that's being made on the camera. So, because I can't see this very well, because it's blending in, which is what I was saying about this marl yarn, I'm not going to rip it out. It's fine. But what I will do is I will test that method in my next repeat. So the 6th row will be chain 1, and then turn your work to the side and look to see if you see that 3rd row, the 3rd loop. So you're going to half double crochet in the 3rd loop. Now the first one I think is the hardest one to see, but it's right there. And I think that what we're looking for is a bar that goes across. The first bar that goes across right there. So you want to half double crochet in the 3rd loop like that. Whoops. See, this is very slippery yarn. I have no idea why it is so slippery. It's recycled, which, you know, it's usually grabby, or you can feel a texture on it. But this is slippery. And so I'm going to go into the back bar every stitch like that. See if I can bring it up here a little bit higher, that back bar. So there's your 2 loops you normally see. Turn it, there's your back bar. Right there. So that'll be row number 6. And see what it'll do is it'll bring these bars forward and give you a little texture that way. And then when you get back around, in this pattern, I would slip stitch in that first one and end my repeat. So my repeat is 5 rows of double, or half double, I mean. 5 rows of half double crochet, and then 1 row of this in the 3rd loop, half double crochet in the 3rd loop. So what I'll do is I will test again, not single crocheting, or slip stitching rather, and just doing it in the round. For those patterns that will have a solid color, it will probably look better, because right now you cannot see my join. After you do the repeat twice more, so you'll end up with 18 rows. You're going to do 5 and 1 is 6. So 6, 6, 6, 18 rows. We will come back and we will decrease the top of the hat and finish the hat off, and I will meet you back. Okay, I decided to turn the video on before I went any farther. So I continued on after my row of third loop half double crochets, and I did my next row of regular half double crochets, and instead of chaining or slip stitching and chaining one and going to the next row, I decided to not do that and just go in continuous rounds. Well, that works out fine. As you can see, it's not the same showing your jag like this one did. It's more okay, but then when you get to the row that you're going to do your 6th row, which you're going to do your third loop, you probably shouldn't continue in the round. You probably should slip stitch one into where you left your marker, chain one, and then do this row at the 6th row, and then again slip stitch and join, because I didn't, and you see how they are a little bit off, which is why I'm telling you to go ahead and end your round and make that round complete like you did before. I'm not going to rip it out. I'm going to leave it. No one's going to see that in the future, but in the next round I will be mindful and I will do that. I'm going to go in continuous round for rows 1 through 5 again, and my third repeat, and then I'm going to meet you back at well, I will meet you back, I guess. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to leave that stitch marker because that is but this is how far away it is from the beginning. Isn't that crazy? It is. It's crazy because we're not turning. Yeah. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I have finished the 3rd round of repeats. And so each time I did the repeat, the 6 rows of half double crochet, I did it a different way. This is the first way where every round you slip stitch and join in the round. There's my jag. This one, I did a continuous for the first 5 rows, and then when you get to this one, I continued, and I didn't like it, but I left it so you could see it. Because when you come back around with your 6th row, which is in the 3rd loop, it doesn't match up. The 3rd time I did it in continuous round again, and this time, after round 5, I joined to the first stitch because I had a stitch marker there, chained 1, and then I did my 3rd loop, and now I'm going to chain 1 or slip stitch in the first and join like you would normally, so the row 6 goes back to it. And look, that does look a lot better. So my choice for this hat in the future will be to, when you start your first set of rounds of the repeat, you will half double crochet in the round and do continuous. Then on the last row 5 of your round of your repeat, you will slip stitch in the first stitch by using a stitch marker to know which stitch that is, and then chain 1 and do your 3rd loop. Then when you get done with your 3rd loop, you'll go back to continuous rounds. Okay, let's go ahead and start our decrease rounds. So that will be 8 inches. Now this will be a generous length of hat for people who have a lot of hair, or just like a little bit slouchier hat, or whatever. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to decrease, because I want to make a nice, I don't want to cinch it now, I want to make a nice, you know, even decrease. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start a half double crochet and then do the next one and start that one, which will leave you with 3 loops, and this is a decrease. So we're going to decrease our half double crochet, and we're going to do that every other. I wonder if that'll work. Well, it doesn't matter, we'll just do it. We're going to every other, we're going to decrease. Whether it works or not, I don't care. Well, now see, I did that different. Did I? Let's see. Let's go back. I think I did. Alright, so there's a decrease, and there is that one. So we're going to go in, draw up a loop, draw through 2, go in the next one, draw up a loop, go through 2, and then go through 3. And then do 1 half. And we're going to go do a decrease again. Every other one will be decrease. Every other one will be regular. Okay, I'll meet you back. I'm going to do 2 rows of that decrease. My second row is going to be the exact same. So you'll start with a decrease every other, and you'll do 2 whole rows. Alright, I'm at the end of the second row of decreases. I did it the same. I started with a decrease, regular, decrease, regular. And I come back around to this side, and there are 2 stitches left. So I went ahead and just did another decrease that ends around 26 stitches, and then you can just again slip stitch a join. Now it doesn't matter how many stitches you have, because we're not doing a pattern, we're just decreasing. So if you end up with 25, 26, 27, it doesn't matter. And if you joined, I mean, if you started your hat with more stitches than I did, then it doesn't matter. You're just going to decrease evenly spaced around your hat so that you keep going down. At this point you could use this last row as your last row if you wanted to, and make it a ponytail hat. So we're going to do 1 more row. This time we're going to do chain 1. We're going to decrease every stitch around, so we should bring us down to the teens. So you should end up with somewhere around 15 or something like that, or less. So just a half double crochet together every round, every stitch, so that you are actually going to end up with half of the stitches that you have. I had 26, I should end up with 13. It doesn't matter the amount though. Now, if you do decide that you want to do a ponytail hat, my suggestion would be to strengthen this part of your hat now. After you get down to the last decrease row, we'll wait until I get there. I kind of start talking before I'm where I need to be. What else is new? Because my head is thinking ahead to what I'm going to say next. And I know that a lot of us have heard people answer us because they are doing that, and their answers don't go with what they were talking about, what we were talking about. And I'm like, yeah, well. Okay, so now that brings me right back around. I think I have like 13 left, but like I said, it doesn't matter how many I have. At that point, you could strengthen your ponytail by chaining one and doing a single crochet around that. At this point, mine, I am going to cut and finish it off and cinch it up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull mine through and put it on a tapestry needle. Now, it doesn't matter what needle you use. I just happen to have this one here. And again, it's a regular needle for small yarn. So it may not work as good for you, but it does have a really sharp edge. Now all I'm going to do is just go in and out every stitch. If you use a regular tapestry needle, it's probably going to be a little easier. But just go in and out every stitch and cinch it down. And don't pull too tight. You don't want to break it. If you do pull too tight and break it, just thread another piece of yarn from your skein and just start somewhere and start cinching back again. And try and weave in your end from the one you broke. And that's it. That is going to cinch it right up, because all we had was 13 stitches left. Now usually what I do is to go back again around. If you wait and don't cinch it quite as tight, you can hit some of these stitches again for one more round, just to give it, you know, enough strength for washing and that kind of thing, because the washer does beat the heck out of yarn and opens up your stitches if you don't have them tied down good. Okay, so now what I normally do is I go back in. That will be your top. It's kind of pretty. We're going to go back down through and weave in our end along a few of these inside rows as well. And then it doesn't matter how long the tail is. Just get rid of a length of it so that it has plenty of chances of coming unraveled before it actually comes unraveled. It could weave in one or two of these, but it's certainly not going to unweave all of them. Now at this point you could immediately start a pom-pom button. Oh, and the other thing, you could actually use this end to sew on a button. I found, we were talking about hoarding buttons, I found this jar of assorted buttons that either someone sent me that they purchased at Walmart, or they sent me that they purchased at Hobby Lobby. I'm not quite sure which place, but look at all those buttons. So we were talking about whether or not you had a chance to buy yard sale buttons or whatever, but these are similar. Now, I've seen buckets of buttons in Michael's in the past. Whether they still have them, I don't know. I've also seen sleeves of assorted buttons. Some of them are all the same colors, but others are assorted like this. So you could take one of these out, you know, right now and go ahead and use your tail to sew your button on. And that's if everything fits through or not. This needle happens to fit through, so I could just go right ahead and sew a button up in here, permanent, and then how that'll end up is a nice place for you to pull this tail of a pom-pom through the top of your hat and permanently, well, not permanently, but wind it around a couple times around the button, and then you can take it off to wash it when you finish your, gift your hat to someone. So that is how you would do that. I had already moved mine enough away from the center that it won't be centered, but if you turn it back, then it will place itself, and then just come back up. It's not the easiest thing to do. Come back up another side, there we go, and continue that. So again, all I did was use my tail more than, and then I'm gonna try and get it out here somewhere. There we go. Not into the button anymore, and finish sewing it down. I really like this way of cinching because when you put your pom-pom on, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I leave a extra. When you put your pom-pom on here, it gives it some stability. It gives it a little bit of... Alright, so what I'm going to do is put my crochet hook up as close to that middle as I can. Grab my end of my pom-pom and bring it to this side of my work. And then wrap it around the button and do it just like a hair tie. Wrap it around a second time. Yeah, my fingers don't want to work today. Seriously? Oh my gosh. It isn't that hard, really. Okay, there. So then it gives it some stability. I really think this is a cute hat. It's going to be a slight slouchy. There is the finished hat. Alright, I will show this in an addictions video later on in the month. And I think this one will end up going in my daughter's Christmas presents as well. I really like it. And again, when you have it on, the jog is not as noticeable in your marled yarn as other yarns, but she's never going to notice, and neither are her friends, because when she puts this on, and there's going to be a little bit of slouch. This hat ends up being, let me see, total length of 9 inches, so it's not all that long. Not, well, okay, 9.5. I'm right up to that pom-pom, so 9.5. Medium slouch. Beautiful yarn, by the way. Let's see, how much did we use? Well, we used quite a bit. I'd say there's about a quarter left, but I didn't weigh it, so that's an opinion. And I will end up putting this yarn into my Navajo blanket where I'm using all the scraps from hats, etc. And I hope you're going to enter a hat into the July Hats and More Hats. I have a hat challenge every single month, and then you can put your finished hat into the post on Facebook. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It is a kind of a tutorial where I design and I show you my mistakes as I go, and then what I do to fix them. The next time I do this hat, which I will do it with that third row choice, and maybe a different yarn, and you can see some of the detail just a little bit better. Take a moment out of each day, be creative, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. Bye for now.